So when we arrived, we decided to dump the tanks and make sure that we were ready to go for staying for over 10 days. And so we did that and then got settled in to our campsite number 8. These campsites are in high demand, and it was tricky. We reserved it on the first day, and even then, within just an hour, 9 of the 10 sites had already been purchased. So we got in last night about 8 o'clock, I guess, and we had to dump the tanks. And this is Porters Lake Provincial Park in Nova Scotia, not about 20 minutes. I guess you kitty corner northeast of Halifax along the coast. And I'll just move out of here a little bit on the other site. So we have, there are 10 sites here that are serviced with electricity and power. And so this is our setup here. You can see the RV behind me. And we still have the Jeep and everything else. We've disconnected everything so we can go about our business. We dumped our tanks, so we're all set to go. A very nice little park here. So what I'm doing, just from the standpoint of service before we go for a little walk, is I'm going to add some water to the tanks and things like that. And I got to take a few things out of the Jeep, get that configured. We got our blue auxiliary gray water tank. We're going to put that there as well, and store a few things in the Jeep. This Porter Lake here, which I'm going to walk out to right now, it's not very far away, so maybe 200 feet or so from the campsite. You have to kind of walk around the other sites though, but that's okay. And it's quite, I would say, to the northwest is probably 11 to 15 kilometers one way. And then the other way goes almost to the ocean. I'm assuming there's some kind of a dike or whatever, because my understanding is this is fresh water and it's not tidal here. So, but anyhow, you get this really nice connection, and it's quiet here. There's lots of birds, and it was sure dark last night when I was doing the inside. It was really dark. So here we go. I'm on the shore now of the Porters Lake. And I imagine this might have been a fjord at one time. So you can see there behind me the expanse of it. This is the north direction here, up about 15K, and then you go that way to go towards the ocean. So this is the only loop with service sites, so you can see behind me here, there's the folks, my newest neighbors. There's 10 sites here that have, like I said, 50 amp. And then we have a whole bunch of tent sites that are further over my shoulders here. I'm going to say maybe 60 or 70 sites that are not serviced. A lot of folks come and do car camping and so on, so it's pretty nice. So we're really well established here now and really getting set up. It was a long drive. We drove from, because we lost the day with the repair to the electrical system, we drove from Keswick all the way to Edmundston, New Brunswick in one shot. So that's a big day, and wanted to get there before it was too dark with the wildlife on the roads and stuff. So anyhow, we ended up, that was about 12 hours and 20 minutes, and we only stopped once. So went from Morrisburg, I guess where we had the gas, en route, went all the way to Edmundston without stopping the RV. So it was a long way. A lot of rough roads in Quebec, pretty tough. Grateful that the RV didn't seem, far I can tell. We have a problem with electrical with some of the systems. There's feeds on the chassis battery that run, and so far what I've discovered is the car seat that moves back and forth, the interconnect relay, the step, are all getting these low voltage readings, there's a problem somewhere, probably with the ground, who knows what. I don't know if I can find it. So we have yet another problem, so the electric seat won't move, and my guess is it's exactly the same issue we've had before. So it's a little frustrating, but knock on wood, most of the stuff's working, and my workarounds for the charging system are working great, so I'm really pleased about that. This is a standard pull through, and I'm going to say you get about 30, maybe even 40 feet, but certainly 30. And you get a little barbecue pit here, metal outfit, and of course the picnic table. So pretty nice setup here. And so everything kind of made the trip pretty well. You can see there's the bike mount on the back of the RV here and all the rest. So for now I think that'll do it, but we hope to be here for about 10 or 11 days, and a very nice part. Hopefully the weather will give us a certain amount of time as well.
So this is the scene at the beach, just about 100 feet in front of the RV. This is this Porters Lake. This is a lake that actually does interact with the ocean. The water is brackish, and it is more brackish down in this area and further towards the ocean than it is in the upper lakes. So this gets to be an interesting cross-section of a marine life, apparently. The park itself is verdant. There's lots of nice flowers and other plants and trees. It is somewhat of a peninsula that juts out into Porters Lake, which gives some interesting life, and you get water, of course, on both sides, so lots of bushes and vines and so on. So it was a very had about 6 to 7 kilometer hike that evening, and it was very interesting to explore the park on the first day.
So this is our second night, just finishing beginning here at Porters Lake, and we had a morning visit, well, afternoon visit I guess. We had a big sleep because we've been going pretty good, and after visiting, Nadine went out with her sister, and then I did some things around. I did a bit of a walk in the campground. I didn't take any video on the walk. I should have, but the mosquitoes are kind of thick, and I just couldn't stop to do it without losing too much blood. But the weather's really nice. It's about maybe 19 C right now here. Completely comfortable, almost just a bit cool actually, wearing shorts and a shirt. As you can see, the Seabreeze RV right here behind me, and it seems to be working pretty well, so we're pretty, so far, pleased with that. So anyway, I'm going to go over to the lake here and take some pictures of as the sun now has just gone down here, and so tomorrow's supposed to be perfectly clear, they say, and so I'm tempted to make a canoe trip. To the western part of Porters Lake. It's a fair ways if I make it. We'll see. When I canoed at Emily Park back in the I know my face is getting dark here because the sun's behind me, but we'll fix that in a minute here. There we go. So when I canoed at Emily, I found after 12-14 I'd been a little bit tired. I'd only canoed the one time this year, and so we'll see. It was a bit windy there too. The gusts are probably 30 an hour. It's supposed to be no more than say 15 or so tomorrow. So I'm hoping, cautiously, that we'll have a nice day and get a chance to explore this. But it's a very nice little place here, and I've enjoyed it. I walked the campground roads on 2 different walks today. Got in about, I'm going to guess about maybe 7 or 8 kilometers. And the lake felt pretty good, so that's optimistic. And so I want to try the canoeing and maybe just a little bit of bike riding tomorrow, just to see how the knee's going to feel with that. I investigated the ride into Dartmouth, Halifax today, and now it does get busy when you get in there, but that happens. But hopefully we can find another way to do that. Now the bugs are getting at me right now too, so I think we'll cut this short. And recognizes the time of day where they're interested in these things, and see how this goes. Anyhow, that's it from Porters Lake tonight. So today I'm going to go canoeing on the west side of Porters Lake. So I've got to get my canoeing gear organized. I'm also going to reconfigure the car and the RV. Some of this I'll just do with fast motion, but when I get a little sorted, I will talk a bit about the equipment I will be taking with me. Just go through what's going with me. Because I'm by myself in the canoe's not laden, I put a 35-pound jug of water at the front that allows the canoe to be held down a little bit. Sometimes I add other things to that. This is a dry bag. I can put my lunch and things in it. It can be near me at the back of the canoe. I find that when I'm paddling using a vest, like a fisherman's vest, I put my GPSs and other types of things like this, binoculars, I even have a mount for my camera, all here on this. So this is a must for me. It makes it so much easier because the canoe can get wet on the floor, and you know, your camera and or GPS is getting in the middle of that isn't really the best. I don't know if I'll use these, but I always have them. Sometimes you have to do a line, and so it's nice to do this instead of putting your good shoes in the water. A canoe safety kit, so it's the throw and flashlight, whistle, so on, and of course the cans of baler. When you portage, you come up with a system. One of the things I try to do is one trip, so I'm not going to go back and get more stuff. I'm going to bring it all at once, and even when I'm canoe tripping, we try my best to do that. On a day like today, it's a day trip, and I'm not even sure if there is any portaging, but still you to carry things from, say here, the vehicle to the water. So you will get a system of how you lash your paddles or your life jacket, whatever it is. I have a system I've been using now for probably 20 years that works really well. So this is the bungee cord I use, and this vest, which I have it behind me in the canoe, but I don't wear when I'm paddling. And then the paddles, this is a bent shaft paddle. It's meant primarily for racing. These are far more efficient than standard paddles are. Notice the bend in the paddle, so when you stroke, at the mid-stroke, the paddle is vertical with the water, not like this where you're lifting water, makes it more or less efficient. This paddle is 8 inches wide, and I find that I'm strong enough that this isn't enough. So I had a custom paddle originally done by my students, and later made this one, had this one made. It's 11 inches across, and that's a real water mover if you need it. And so if you're fighting the winds, this is a wonderful blade. If you can't J-stroke very well with it, I just switch sides, and it seems to work pretty well. So by myself on flat water without wind, I can get about 6.5 K an hour, typical, and maintain that. If it gets into the wind, of course, it gets more complicated. But I can push through a heavier wind with this, where there's times with the other one I can't even move forward very well. I also carry, and this is something that anyone who's doing this should seriously consider, it's what we call a canoe pack, but it's waterproof. So this is a dry bag. It's also got a carry bag that's not dry, and your harness for portaging. It's a wonderful pack. And this is 125 liters. You can put an amazing pile of stuff in this thing. And you can put it in the canoe, and you don't care if it rains, because this bag stays dry. And it's worth every dime. You've got to watch that it doesn't get cut. So be a little careful how you pack it. And you've got a heavier bottom in it, which also prevents you know, that kind of thing from happening. Lots of handles on it to pick it and carry it, hit this way or that, and it's been a really good deal. Over here, standard binoculars, 10 by 20s. I have my spot system, so when I run this, first it gives me a chance to be rescued if I ever need it. Secondly, I have a thing on my on a web page where people can follow my trip, and it sends a little text message to the 10 people I've chosen. But then if they want, go find out what's going on. And this is my eTrex Garmin GPS. It's getting older now, but it still works great. And this will give me a much more precise breadcrumb than this one will, and I can download it into my computer and remember the trip. So that's in effect what I'm taking. Of course I have my wallet and keys and my food and so forth for the day. We're going, and I'll put a map in, but Porters Lake is quite a long body of water, and today I'm going to head west-northwest as far as I can go, or as far as the energy holds out. We've got a bit of a breeze, but it's not too bad today, so I'm looking forward to doing that and being back here dinner time or so.
So on my canoe paddle, Porters Lake is basically 3 lakes. We were on the lower one. There's a middle and an upper one. And these are generally divided and separated by causeways with highways going between them. So this is the first bridge, about 2 kilometers north of our campsite. You can see they're fairly low, and it does certainly divide the water bodies. And then the middle one has marinas and fair amount of settlement on it. The northern or upper one, I guess you could say, is more wild, and the hills are higher, and there's more rock and remote setting to the site. Regardless, it's a beautiful area. The other thing I want to point out is with the ocean, you get a real onshore-offshore effect. When you're in the lower lake, it pushes you inland. When you get to the upper, it pushes you back to the sea. Either way, half your trip is a headwind, and it's a pretty substantial one as well.
Yeah, hello there. So it's Henry here. I'm at the on Upper Porters Lake, I guess it was what you would call it. I'm about 2 hours into my little trip today. Gone about maybe 7.5 kilometers now. I've stopped a few times. Things going pretty well. I miscalculated and I left my wide angle lens at home and my selfie stick. So I'm doing this with my arm. So Lumby's a little bit different. It's interesting when you're down at Porters Lake near the ocean, the wind's blowing in from the shore because of the ocean being colder, the land being warmer. The ocean cools the air over it, and that forces the air upward over the land, so you get this breeze from the ocean to the shore. But now I'm in here 6 or 7 or 8K, whatever it is, and certainly from the ocean, probably more like maybe 10 or 11 or 12, and suddenly the wind's now not doing that anymore, and it's actually arguably blowing slightly differently. So that's pretty cool to see that, and so I've really kind of enjoyed this experience. The chop is no more than 6 or 8 inches mostly, and there's a few powerboats, but not too bad. Everybody's very nice. Anyhow, so that's it from the middle part here of Porters Lake, and we're going to keep on going a little bit. I got another 6 or 7 to go, I guess, to the end here, and then we'll hit the land, and then we'll turn around and go back home. So see you later. I am at the pretty much the north end of Upper Porters Lake, or west end, I guess you could call it. There might be 1.5 kilometers to go, but with the headwinds I've been bucking for the last 8 to 10K, I've had enough. So I'm going to turn around and go back. So that direction over my shoulder is where I came from. So I'm going to turn around and do that. So it'll be a total of about 26 or so for the day. Hopefully the wind will push me home a bit, which will be nice. But it's beautiful here. It's not really humid, but it's about 27 or 28 in the sun, I would say. And as I said earlier, interesting how the wind direction shifted. We'll see if that continues when we go home. Let's give a pan here of where I am. You can see the canoe there. Borrow this cottage for a few minutes. Well, I didn't borrow the cottage, just the beach. There's the scene as it is right now. So anyhow, a few days just going to get some refreshment now, and we're going to head back soon and back to the RV and what I hope is a little less than 4 hours. We'll see. Okay, everyone. So I'm on my way back now, and the wind's pushing me really nicely, so it does work. I'm averaging about 6.5, maybe 7 at times, but certainly 6 to 6.5. And so right on 4 kilometers, and maybe 45 minutes or something like that. So it's pretty amazing. You get a little warmer, of course, when you're going with the wind because you don't get the cooling effect. And this lake, at least so far, seems not to have any marinas on it. I brought some water and some lunch, but that's gone. So we'll have to see how that works out. But you can see the beautiful area here. And everybody's very nice. A nice chat with a fella from the powerboat organization. So it was very nice. And so I got about 10K left. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully, at least I get the falling wind and not too much on the headwind when we get further down and get closer to the ocean. It's pretty warm out here, I must say. Anyhow, that's it from here. Thank you.